Hello, hello, hello. It's been a while. Actually, it's been a week. I did originally plan to stream last week on Wednesday, but I ended up deciding against it because I didn't want to have a backlog of editing when I got back from my trip. I'm back from my trip early, so I kind of regret that now because I could have just spent today editing instead of doing other things. But oh well. Just means I'm gonna have to spend more time this week streaming and recording and editing and creating a backlog. So last week's problems are about to become next week's problems. Anyway, that's a little bit of news updates. I guess one more update. At the time of recording it, it is March 8th. Sunday, March 8th. Tomorrow is the 9th, which means that Tuesday will be March 10th, the debut of the One Piece live action, which I will probably be watching in the Discord with some of my friends, which is, again, another plug for the fact that I have a Discord. You can join it. It's public. There are links to it where links are. And the link is out there. If you want it, you can find it. I left all of the links somewhere. Also, in other One Piece news, I guess we could talk about some more One Piece news right about now. Apparently, One Piece now has officially passed up Superman. It is now the #1 best-selling comic of all time. This is something that I was waiting for, and I predicted by 2030 would happen. And it's before 2030, and it happened. Now it's time for just Oda to keep them sales up and see how big of a record he can set for any other comic in the future to try to surpass. And I have a feeling that nothing will surpass it, at least in my lifetime. I can't speak for the future. But in honor of this, Oda decided to write the ending on a slip of paper in a compression-sealed chamber and drop it to the bottom of the ocean. And in less than 48 hours after doing that, they already found where he dropped it in the ocean. So I guess if some rich billionaire wants to scour an entire lake in southeast Japan, or not a lake, a bay, wants to scour the seafloor of a bay, accounting for who knows how much continental drift and sea drift, they could probably spoil the ending for everybody if they just want to spend billions of dollars to do it. I say billions of dollars, but it's probably going to cost somewhere in the ballpark of hundreds of millions to get a deep sea team to just scour the bottom of the ocean. But I would not be surprised if within the next 7 months to a year somebody actually finds it. So yeah, the One Piece is real and it's at the bottom of the ocean. I'm not sure if I like the fact that Oda's done this, but we've already known that he's written the ending of One Piece so long ago and that a few select people already know the ending. But I actually kind of stand with Roger's base. I hope whoever does find it destroys it. Or keeps the secret to themselves, in true One Piece Stampede fashion. For those who get that reference, you are a true fan. Anywho, I guess without further ado, I'm looking at a color spread right now, because apparently this is a volume-ending chapter, I believe. There was an SBS that released this week. So yeah, we got to learn a bunch of new interesting things, like about the snail phones, for instance. Like Zebek's sword and his ship name, and a few other things. As well as information on Shiki and whatnot. But I don't do channels updating what's going on in the SBSs, so if you want to see that, you can go look up the channel. Somebody will definitely be more willing to cover that than I will. Anywho, let's just move on to pages 2 and 3 and start reading this chapter. If there is anything on 2-3. When there's a color spread, usually page 2 is blank. Alrighty, page 2 and 3, and yep, page 2 is blank, just the One Piece logo, which means we're on page 3 already, and I haven't even started reading the chapter yet, and I don't even know what the name of the chapter is yet. But I can see it partially on the way down page 3. It says Chapter 1176, With Pride. Finally, a short title that I can actually fit in the character limit. Some of these chapters have been pretty long names lately. Alrighty, we're opening with Frankie yelling. What kind of party's going on over there? He's looking at the giant Rygo orb for what was it, Thundheim or whatever it was that Loki's giant lightning ball attack was. Alright, Frankie's regrouped with Lilith. That's kind of neat. That was in the box that Vegapunk was in, right? Glad I left it right here by the school. It's the ODC, the Omni Drain Converters. What is an Omni Drain Converter? Forgive me for not being up to date on my fictional pirate world science. I'm more of a history guy. I used to be a science guy in my youth, but those days have long since passed me by since I haven't really committed to it. I still appreciate the sciences, though. The hover function should still work on Elbaph. Just feel. It's everywhere all around us. That's energy. Have you ever run off a more potent fuel than cola? Ooh, Frankie's about to get an upgrade? This is a prediction that people had for not Elbaph, for was Egghead, and that didn't end up happening. So we're about to get an upgraded Frankie? Well, that's the end of page 3, so I guess I gotta move on to page 4 and 5? Alright. Fire's spreading. It's a nightmare. The whole world's coming to an end today. There was that dragon. It was bigger than Kaido. I guess that's for scale, I guess. Of course he's bigger than Kaido. Why wouldn't he be? He's supposed to be the biggest dragon. That was clearly Luffy riding on its back, right? So is the dragon on our side. Yeah, Usopp's panicking. That's par for the course. Eddie, without a thought in the world. Alright, looks like Nami and Zeus are going to team up and try to put out the fires of the rainstorm, I'm guessing. Alright. Fearsome, but we should hurry, especially if the children are out of harm's way now. Oh, Saul's waking up. Sorry, I know I gotta get up. Alright, critical mission, Zeus. To put out the fire of the library and the school. Alright, good. Nami's gonna take care of the library and the school. I'm surprised they haven't really burned down yet. Let's see, pouring rain. What is the biggest rainstorm Nami has ever kicked up? I know she's kicked up a pretty massive lightning storm when she attacked Big Mom back at Whole Cake, but I don't think we've ever seen what her biggest storm capabilities are yet with Zeus. So if this is going to be an impressive rain cloud, it should be able to put out the fire on 2 giant buildings that are a nondescript distance apart from each other. But yeah, that's more or less all that's happening on pages 4 and 5. Don't worry too much about the ads. It's not super important. I do have pre-rolls on, but part of the reasons that I record these is so that I can upload them on YouTube the next day after. This is mostly just so people can see my reactions, and then even after the stream's over, you can always rewind. Alright, where was I? Alright, we're looking at pages 6, 7. Tempo. So it's pouring rain tempo. Okay. Yep, rainstorm on the school and the library. Robin urging them to hurry. Oh! Who said you're allowed to put out the fire? Oh, looks like, Gillingham is finally showing up. I kind of forgot about him. I hope that me in the past, last week, made a prediction that somebody would start fighting this guy. Because it already looks like Somers is out of commission in the last chapter, if I remember correctly. You promised to cast aside the history of the world. Okay. Did a giant sleep tid just eat the rain cloud? Or is it Zeus that just got eaten? Snake, no, it's a lindworm. What I'm afraid of, lindworm. I dumbfoundedly stopped there for a second. Lindworm. I thought, like, have we met someone named Lindworm? No, I was thinking of Lindbergh. Lindbergh from the Revolutionary Army. Zeus, you okay? Nami's concerned. That was our one hope of putting out the fire. Who is that? Is that one of the three demons? Activate OCD. ODC. Oh. They must be... Frankie and Lilith must be really close if we can hear them talking in the background of this panel with Jinbei. Which means I guess we're done with pages 6 and 7, and I think we're about to get a cool epic attack from Frankie on the next panel. Or one of Lilith's inventions, probably. Or both. Could be both. Alright, pages 8 and 9. Collect heat energy. Ooh, they're going to collect all the energy, because fire is pretty much just energy at the end of the day. It's plasma. So can it just absorb fire? Collect heat energy. What are those? What are those? Fire's been put out, or frozen. Okay, that makes sense to me. No more questioning of that. I don't need to. As someone in the chat pointed out, it's an Omni thing is an elemental absorber. Good to know. Vegapunk with random invention, go burr, I guess. Who am I to question the great doctor? What does that mean? We're in the clear? The school and the library fires are out. All natural disasters are a maelstrom of energy. Yep. I guess Vegapunk's about to make the explanation that I was just finished saying, actually. Here you go, Frankie. Try using that. Oh! And they're going to give it to Frankie to shove into his chest like a bottle. That bottle's about to burst. Indeed. I call it Super Vega Cola. Uh-oh. Your innards are immaculately designed, just as advanced as pacifistas. Which is why I was stunned to learn that you only use cola to power yourself. So what are pacifistas powered by? You see, Frankie, fuel is passion. Use this stuff and your raw power will explode. Ooh, okay, so I was wrong about an epic Frankie attack on the beginning of this page, but it looks like as we move to pages 10 and 11, we're about to get a big Frankie attack on the next page. Unless they continue to, like, blue ball me and then they push it another 2 pages back, but Oda wouldn't do that to me twice, would he? Alrighty, pages 10 and 11. Oh, we cut to Zeus. Zeus is in the stomach of the sleep kid. It's dark in there. Kinda reminds me when Luffy was eaten by the snake on Skypiea. I gotta make sure not to put my hand in front of my face like that. My camera will put me out of focus. Alright. Nami's gonna try to save Zeus. Saul and Robin are heading to the library. The world history O'Hara left behind. Devour the library. Okay, the snake's gonna eat the library now. Don't give them a shred of hope. Only when history is ended can a new world come about. Man, Killingham seemed like the most reasonable of the 3 Holy Knights that we've met so far, not counting Gunko. But they really haven't had a lot of time to even show off their personality till now, so this is actually kind of like the first little dregs of personality that we've seen in their human form. Okay, looks like Jinbei's gonna try to rescue Zeus. Oh, he's gonna make the beast throw up, okay. Oh, here we go. Some good old-fashioned racism coming out of the Celestial Dragons. Ew, a fish man. The ugliest species in the world. I'm gonna puke. Good thing my mask keeps my air clean. In case those who forgot that Killingham has like a gas mask on. We never found out if he's actually related to that gas mask Celestial Dragon we saw in the flashback sequence with Loki and God Valley and all that. Alright, where are we? Just the sort of the elitist mindset I'd expect from a Celestial Dragon. Exactly, that is exactly what I would expect from a Celestial Dragon. Or a white nationalist. I don't think Fishmen would be very popular if they existed in real life, because for some reason we as humans are innately racist towards things that are different. It's kind of just sad to think. To be honest, I have such a grim outlook on humanity lately that I personally think that if slavery was not illegal, that we would probably still be using slave labor everywhere at this point. In fact, I'm not entirely confident that we won't just, like, get rid of the 13th Amendment at some point. They already tried getting rid of birthright citizenship. This world's going downhill. Or at least the US is. World War III, Iran attacks. I don't want to get too political on this channel right now, because I'm trying to enjoy this one little gem of light I have in my life, which is One Piece. But, unfortunately, it's kind of hard for me to forget all the horrible things that are happening in real life right now. And, of course, it's racism that reminds me of all that. As someone who studies history, you can kind of link racism to a lot of today's modern problems. Like, a lot of the social problems that are currently plaguing the US today mostly trace back to people just not wanting to help people of color. Like, if you really think about it, like, the boomer generation gets a lot of flack for, like, pulling the ladder up and, like, making it so a lot of their the generations that came after them wouldn't get the same benefits they got. If you actually look at it historically from a lens, they weren't actually pulling up the ladder to actually prevent next generations from getting benefits. They were pulling up the ladder so that people of color couldn't get the benefits. Like, for instance, the GI Bill was taken away so that, like, African Americans wouldn't get benefits from it. Stuff like that. And if you go back far enough into US history, you can kind of link racism to almost every modern day problem. We do have a systemic racism problem here in the US. I wish more people would acknowledge that. And because this section of the video is going to be labeled pages 10 and 11, I can say this confidently, because nobody is going to actively look for this section of the video to see me talk about my thoughts and opinions on systemic racism in the US and why it is ruining the US today. Anyway, let's continue reading page 11, where the racist is about to get attacked, probably. For the crimes of being ignorant of Jimbei, former warlord of the sea, and insulting a member of our crew, I think you need a hole in that mask of yours. Alright, super, look at my hops. Here we go. I did get blue-balled again. Frankie's big attack is probably going to be on the next page. All the muscles in my body are screaming. He's about to unleash it. Oh, Sanji's about to throw out an attack too. Super strong. Fishman Karate, Secret Art, Ifrit Jump. Also, we're going to get a triple attack on the next page. Alrighty, let's move on to pages 12 and 13. Oh my god, that's 75% of both pages for one attack. Dexter, Vagabond Drill, Concassier Crush. So that's Jimbei hitting the Sleep Tid. Sanji, I think, smashing the helmet on Sir Killingham. And it also looks like, I guess, Frankie's just going to shatter the jaw of the giant Sleep Tid. That's a little bit underwhelming. All that build-up for Frankie. I feel a little bit robbed. The head of the thing, we do see a panel in the bottom corner at the bottom of page 13 where the head of the Sleep Tid is being sent flying, so it definitely got hurt. He decapitated it. Oh, we also see Zeus getting shot up through the neck hole. That's an image and sentence I definitely wanted to say. Well, I don't think I need much more commentary on pages 12 and 13, but given how much of a political message I talked about on at the last page, I guess I should at least hang on this page a little bit longer so the chapters aren't like 30 seconds to a minute by comparison to whatever the length of my readings of pages 10 and 11 were. But the two panels that we see at the top of page 13 are pretty interesting as well, because we get to see Killingham's head start to pancake to a amorphous black blob. His head goes full accordion, and then it turns into paste. Sanji is really strong. So we got Frankie decapitating a giant Sleep Tid monster, and then we got Sanji turning a head into paste. Now that I think about it, Sommers' head got split into fucking 4 or 5 pieces last chapter from a punch from Luffy. We're just decapitating people left and right. And even when Usopp first attacked Gunko, he completely, like, evaporated the entire upper half of her body, head included. Man, that skull bomb grass is really strong. I saw a video recently where people were complaining about the regeneration powers. That it makes the Holy Knights look a lot weak when they're getting, like, decapitated and completely turned to paste from attacks like this. Because if they didn't have regeneration, and this was enough to kill them, it makes me wonder if they just have... are they just weaker but with regeneration, or are they actually as strong as somebody like, let's say, Kaido, where an attack like this wouldn't even harm them? Like, if we're comparing Killingham to Queen, I guess, from the previous arc, would this same attack from Sanji turn Queen's head into paste? Or is Killingham's defenses just that much weaker than Queen's? It also puts into question how strong those helmets are, because it clearly shatters that helmet to hit his head as well. Have I rambled off around what's going on pages 13 for the 3 panels we get on page 13? I think we can finally move on. Alrighty, pages 14 and 15. I wonder if this is going to be a longer chapter, because we effectively lost page 1 to the color spread. Okay, we're cutting back to the western village. The giant pirates have turned into demons. That's still going on. The Sun Warrior pirates... or sorry, the warriors of the western village. Oh, why did I call them the Sun Warrior pirates? Oh, what's happening here? Every cut we make just heals itself up. I know these bends. It's hard enough just to bring myself to attack a familiar face. How are we supposed to stop them? Oh, Jarl's here. Captains Dory and Broggy. Are you in there, Dory? Just barely, Broggy. Oh yeah, Zoro's still here at this battlefield too, I guess. I'm living through my deepest shame, hurling insults I don't believe at my beloved Chief Jarl. Oh! If I were to... or are we actually are they starting to break through the demonification, the Dami Reversi? Is this Dory and Broggy talking? If I were to take his head, it would bring my family shame for generations. Yeah, it can't happen. So we're in agreement. Are they going to tell them to kill them? They decapitated each other at the beginning of the next page, 16 and 17. Of course, we'll never give in to demons. That century of battles was the best time of my life. We are warriors. When we die with pride. They just killed themselves. Holy shit. I didn't see that coming. I figured that the way to beat them would eventually, because of what Zoro did, how many chapters ago that was, where he got them to hit each other. I figured that they would just get them to fight each other. What happened? Their heads grew back. Huh. Are they back? That must mean... oh, so just killing them brings them back to normal? That feels a little anticlimactic. Alright. Pages 18 and 19. We're finally getting to the end of the chapter here. If they die, they stop being demons. Even the most mangled corpse is the picture of health when you flip it over. No need to hold back. All we have to do is inflict fatal damage to turn them back to normal, like chopping off their heads. Or running them through the heart. Come on, these are comrades. You can't do that, can we? Get the children inside. You hate to see it. It's a real shame. It pains me on the inside. Real heartbreaker. Don't take it personal, but prepare to die. And that's where we end the chapter on. I don't know what I actually want to put in the thumbnail this chapter. I have a lot of thoughts about this chapter. We're finally getting to see the closing action, the falling action of the story. I feel like we've passed the climax, and now it's just a matter of resolving all the plot threads. Let's do a little bit of a recap of what's gone so far. We catch up with what Frankie and Lilith were doing. We solve the problem of the library and the school burning down. It looks like we have defeated St. Killingham. I don't know if that will actually stop his sleep tids from spawning, because he created those weird holes that the sleep tids spawn out of. So that might still be a plot thread that we need to resolve after this, but it's kind of looking like Sanji has caved his skull in, and he is probably not going to be an issue any further. And even if he is not finished from this one panel, then he might actually... He's going to have to fight Jinbei, Frankie, Sanji, and Nami and Zeus. Also, I guess Usopp is here, too. Dory and Broggy have now been dealt with, which means the remaining giant warrior pirates of old are probably going to get dealt with by Dory and Broggy now. So that's another plot thread resolved. And last chapter, we resolved the plot threads with Somers and the kidnapped children, which means, assuming Killingham has been dealt with, next chapter, all we have left to deal with is Emu/Gunko, and then we also have to deal with the remaining sleep tids, however many there are, or if the sleep tids will just keep spawning forever. And also, we saw a panel of the Holy Land last chapter, and it didn't look like it was on fire, so maybe Shamrock will come back, and that'll be how the Holy Knights turn things around, but hopefully I hope that that doesn't happen, because I feel like I'm liking the pace that we're going at right now. Plot threads are resolving and getting tied up, so the more loose ends we continue to tie up, the closer to a resolution of the plot we can get to, and then we can move on to the next arc. I don't want to be stuck on Elbaph forever. After just being stuck in Wano for what felt like 6 years, I feel like we should be moving on towards the end of the story. So, I've enjoyed our little romp around in Elbaph, and it's done a whole lot that's going to set up for later chapters. But for the most part, I really just want to move on. And you can I guess I'll label that whole section as a recap / predictions and highlights. Or I guess we can do some more predictions and highlights right now. So, obvious highlight of the chapter, Dory and Broggy decapitating each other. Low point of the chapter, them kind of just coming back, not even a page later. This amazing triple attack from both Jinbei, Sanji, as well as Frankie. That's probably the big highlight. That might actually be what I use as the thumbnail for this chapter. And I guess I'll just put that aside for now. And also, we got to see Jinbei do something that wasn't putting out a fire. Because there's been this weird resentment in the community lately about Fireman Jinbei. About how all he seems to do is put out fires. Well, this time, Lilith put out the fire, and Jinbei punched a giant snake monster in the stomach. So I hope you're all happy Jinbei didn't put out a fire. Even if I think he very easily could have done it. Nami also didn't get to put out a fire, which I'm also a little bit disappointed with, actually. Nami almost did something this chapter. If anything, Nami got some valor stolen. I think we just have too many allies here. Yeah, Zeus got eaten. Nami's Cloud attack with Zeus got eaten, and then Nami proceeds to do nothing. Saul looks like he's okay. That's, I guess, good news to have. We learned what a lindworm was, I guess. We got to see the effects of Super Vega Cola, kind of. I was expecting something bigger than that. And I got blue balled for like almost 3 pages before we actually got to see any payoff for what that Super Vega Cola did. That being said, it is a pretty big decapitated monster that he punched the head off of. Especially when you compare it to Jinbei's attack on the same monster that just looks like it's sending ripples through the entire body. Whereas Frankie just punched his head off, or I guess punched through his neck and his jaw. Still cool. We didn't get any reaction shots from Emu in this chapter, and we saw the aftermath of Loki's attack, but we didn't see Loki this chapter. We saw Usopp's reaction to Loki, though. So, next chapter, I believe what we're going to end up dealing with is we're going to finally cut back to the main plot. Maybe we'll resolve to see if the Sleep Tid stops spawning after Killingham's been taken out. If Killingham's been taken out, that's probably what we're going to look into next. And because we didn't see Luffy or Loki or Emu in this chapter, I feel like we need to check in on them next chapter. And maybe we'll finally have resolved this plot line with all of the giant warrior pirates getting flipped with Dami Reversi. Which makes me curious why we didn't see this same thing happen back in God Valley, because clearly Emu Dami Reversi'd the members of the D-Clan on God Valley, and we didn't see if they were... I don't remember, did we see any of them get killed? I don't know. That's something I guess we'll have to look into. Well, anyhow, I feel like that's enough from me. I've been rambling on for about 32 minutes, which is usually what I do in one of these videos. So, I hope all of you have been enjoying the Elbaph arc about as much as I have been enjoying it, which, to be honest, has been pretty good. Some people have been complaining a lot about that the stakes don't feel really good. Well, we're now past the point where there were stakes. We had kidnapped children, parents that were probably going to die, and this chapter... Not this chapter, but this arc has been doing a lot to set up the wider world, the wider lore, as well as give us a lot of familiar faces. Also, pre-time skip Robin design, which a lot of people, myself included, think is just a gem. Anywho, that's all from me. Hopefully next week, if it is not a break, I don't think. Also, it's daylight savings time today, which is also super annoying. I just remembered that. I'm going to have to set my clocks. Does it spring forward? I'm going to have to set everything forward an hour. Did that mean I lost an hour of sleep last night? Oh, that's so annoying. Anywho, once again, a reminder that I let people know what I'm doing and what my schedule is on Discord. So if you want to know what I'm doing when I'm doing it, that's the place to go. We stream live on Twitch at least 1 to 2 times a week. And I believe our next couple streams are probably going to be Genshin because there's an event going on and I want to get that done before it's finished. And then I'll probably pop into Star Rail to do a pull stream of Sparksy whenever I get back to that. Because I still have a lot of side quests to do there as well. But, beyond that, if there's other stuff people want me to do, let me know. I take some requests. I prioritize the requests that people put in the Discord, so once again, we plug the Discord. And have a nice day. Stay safe out there. Hope you all remembered to set your clocks back. Sorry, set your clocks forward. Forward. Oh, man, why do I still have to do daylight savings time? They got rid of it in Arizona. Why can't they get rid of it here? Anyway, that's enough from me. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye.